Hello everyone, and today we are going to tackle something that will be, well, a little uncomfortable. So, might as well not beat around the bush. Let's get to it. Welcome to RPG Elite, where we put the RP back into RPG, giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and talk on how to make your RPG experience more immersive and enjoyable. How is everyone this week? My prayer is that everybody is doing well, doing great, doing fantastico. For all of you new people who are coming through, I want to welcome you. And for all you people who are returning, what up, my fellow elites? Now, if you are returning and you keep returning and not subscribing, maybe you don't want to make a YouTube channel. Come on now, get on this train in the very least and subscribe. And if at the end of the video you are digging the content on the channel, you go through, then you can crush that like button right now. And then later on with other videos, know what I mean? Because I got plenty of them. Now this is going to be, I think this is going to be an uncomfortable video. I kind of under-predicted on the one where I was talking, my one video where I talked about 4 reasons why black people don't play RPGs. And if you haven't seen that video, go right here and check it out. And you can go in the middle of this video and check it out. But I get a sense for things. I get a sense for whatever topic that I'm going to talk about. And I get a sense for the response for it. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but about 80 to 85% of the time, I'm pretty much on the money. And I think that this one is going to offend people. And I want to warn you ahead of time that this video may offend you. Now, I am not making the video to offend. I am not making the video just to be provocative. I'm not. What I am doing is making a video that I care about. And that's something that I believe we need to discuss. But I'm going to be using some terms and I'm going to be saying some things in a way that is bound to offend some people. And it's just going to have to offend some people. But I'm letting you know, if you are one of those people who are sensitive and wear your feelings on your sleeve, so it might be better for you to go and look at my Gamma World series, right? There's a playlist right here. I'll put it over right here. You can go and look at that, where we take a deep dive into the Gamma World system, and we've got all these nitty gritty things, making characters and all the rest of that stuff. So that might be a better place. It might be a safer place, because when it comes to these kinds of videos, you can't be overly sensitive. You got to be adult about it. You got to be able to handle this stuff, and some people are not able to handle it. So I want to forewarn you. Now, why am I saying that? Why preface the video that way? Because I'm going to be dealing with 2 things that are so controversial in our culture, not only here in the United States, but globally. And they are these 2 things: facts and truth. See, I like to come from that perspective when I make these kind of commentary videos. I like to come from the perspective of facts and truth. Now, we know that in this culture today, those 2 things are just not tolerated. Everybody wants to try to make truth relative when it isn't. And everybody wants to overlook facts just to push forth whatever agenda that they want, because they have some presupposition that they want to override facts. Well, if that's the case, it's not the video for you, because I'm not going to be overriding facts. I'm going to be presenting them and I'm also going to be presenting the truth. So I'm just letting you know this ahead of time as we move further into this. Now, after this video, or maybe even during this video, even though that's a little silly because you haven't seen the whole video, and just me saying that that's silly is going to offend somebody, and they'll feel the need to make a comment. Now, it's not that I don't want you to make a comment. I do want you to make comments, but I want you guys to know that the community that I want to foster here is one of intelligent and lucid commentary and, if necessary, debate. So I have made it so any kind of vulgar or profane words will be flagged and your comment will not be seen. I run a clean establishment here, and there are over 400,000 words in the English language. Please do not use the most vulgar and profane ones. All that shows to me is that you do not know how to express yourself in a lucid and intelligent manner. And if you think that I'm disparaging those people who do that, it's because I am. Don't do it here. The vast majority of you do not. So if you have seen your comments that have not shown up, that is the reason why. If you want to go ahead and redo those comments, please do. I'm just letting you know that I've put that filter in place, and that it would be the reason why your comment would not be showing up. But I still want to encourage you to go ahead and comment and debate. Make sure it's intelligent, make sure it's lucid, make sure it is not profane, and we will be good to go. And I'm sure you're going to want to comment after this video. Okay, we've laid out the groundwork there. So let's move on to what we want to talk about here, which is abusing tabletop RPGs. What do I mean by that? Abusing tabletop RPGs. It seems odd, doesn't it? That phrase, abusing tabletop RPGs, is that something that's possible? It is. Let me explain. All right, so let's look at the term RPG. Let's look at that, and let's break it down into its requisite parts. So RPG is an acronym for role-playing game. So it actually has two parts. And let's break down the first part, which is the RP, the role-playing part. So what is role-playing? Well, I didn't want to give my opinion on this, so I just went to the dictionary. And I went to not one, but two dictionaries. These are facts. This is what it is. This is what we have come to. This is not relative. This is the truth of the matter. This is the definition. I went to Merriam-Webster and I looked at their definition. This is the definition that they gave. To act out the role of. That's the definition they gave for role-playing. But I also went to the Oxford Languages Dictionary, and this is the definition they gave. To act out or perform the part of a person or character. We have, within both of those definitions, a common word. Act. Acting is something that is a part of role-playing. It is role-playing. It is the definition of role-playing. It's taking on a persona. It is acting out a persona. That is what role-playing is. All right. We're on the same page now. Let's go to the second part of that, which is game. And I found this rather interesting. Oxford Languages said that a game is a form of play or sport played according to rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck. The last of which there is no such thing, but, just to keep it on the level that everybody understands, that's where we're going to keep it. All right. But Merriam-Webster's dictionary defined it as such: an activity engaged in for amusement or diversion. Oh, okay. All right. Now we have this definition of these two terms put together and what it means. So we have this acting and we have these rules And we're doing this for amusement and diversion. Some people say escapism, it's the same thing. All right, great. Now we're on the same page. Awesome. Because we have a definition of it that we can all come to the table with, it should not be surprising if you sit down to play a role-playing game and expect someone to role play, because the categorical identification, and by the way, I'm going to beat that term to death in this video. You're gonna get mad at me, but you're gonna hear that one over and over. The categorical identification tells us that acting in this kind of game is what is expected. That shouldn't be a surprise. That's not a stretch. That's not an expectation that is like far off in left field. But let's go a bit further. What is the purpose of role playing in a role playing game? In other words, why role play? Now, we're going a whole lot deeper than what most people do, but I do that. That's me. I think about, I'm passionate about this stuff. I'm thinking just a little bit beyond the pale, and I'm thinking below the superficial and shallow way that most people think about these things. All right. And I know that's offensive to some people that I just said that. Oh, well, why are we role playing in a role playing game? I wrote it down. This is what I wrote down. For amusement and diversion. So it goes back to the game, but this is my definition right here. Check it. To evoke a pleasurable emotional response through the vehicle of role playing in the context of a game. To evoke a pleasurable emotional response through the vehicle of role playing in the context of a game. Now, I put that together from the definition of terms that we've used. That is the categorical identification of what an RPG is. But now we're going to get to the part where you're going to get upset. Well, some of you may get upset. All right, so this is where we get into the part of the video when we start talking about role-playing versus role-playing. Now, for those of you who are new, who don't know what this is about, let me explain. There are those who role-play, which means they take the categorical identification of the game at its face, and those who are role-playing, who really don't do that, but just use the game for their own ends and not in the way that it was intended. They approach it more often than not more like a war game. Now, why would they do that? Well, because way back when RPGs came onto the scene, many from that community are the ones that birthed role-playing games. And you will find even in the game that I refuse to mention by name on this channel, that it was very combat heavy. And there's a lot of people who bring that desire over into a role-playing game. But they have no desire to role play. They don't want to role play, and they just want to role play. Those people who do those things, well, those are the people who abuse tabletop RPGs. They are abusers. Now let's go ahead and look at this term abuse. I think it's important for us to understand what I'm talking about. Now, the etymology of that word is actually an amalgam of two words: abnormal and use. Abnormal use or abuse. Now, in the way that we use the word today, it also brings with it the connotation of mistreatment, corruption, depravity in some cases. So when we talk about those who abuse tabletop RPGs, they are abnormally using them not for the original intent that the categorical identification of the game intends. They use it for their own ends outside of the intended use. These are abusers. Now, I know that that term is something that might, not be so comfortable for people. Who wants to be called an abuser? But you are. Now, before anybody starts crying and whining and moaning, talking about, how dare you tell people how to play the game? I am not telling anybody how to play the game. Y'all can go ahead and continue to play the game as you've always played it. I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is that this is what you are doing. This is the definition. This is the truth, and this is the fact. You are an abuser of tabletop RPGs. It is what it is. Own it. Now, I know that you're not going to go around telling people when they say, oh, what are you doing there? Well, I'm abusing a tabletop RPG. I know that you won't say that. It will be what you are doing if you do not want to role play, are not looking to role play, and all you want to do is role play. Okay, well, at that point, you're abusing it. For those of us who are purists and actually take the categorical identification of RPG at its face, I told you I was going to beat that to death. You can say there are the purist, which is weird to say, and then there are those who are the abusers. You have that right there. Changing the rules and putting homebrew rules in there is not abuse. It actually is a tribute to the game because you're saying this game is good. It just needs an extra spice here and there, but I'm going to play this game because the game is good. That's a tribute to the game. That's an expression of love towards the game, and that is not abuse. In the least, that is not abuse. What abuse is when you want to role play instead of role play, which is not the intended use of the game and goes against the categorical identification. Maybe you've played with them in the past. You might have played with some last week. I don't play with them. I'm RPG elite, folks. I don't play with people like that. Those people might be cool folks too. I'm talking about the abusers. They might be cool folks that I could hang out with at any other time. I just won't play an RPG with them. Now, there are other people that are abusers that are not players. Hear me now. These abusers are the creators. See, what has happened is that they've hijacked the term role player or role playing. And so when they hijack this term and you look at their games and you're seeing that, wait a minute, where is the role playing aspect of this game? Because it's more like a hack and slash war game, but it has on the cover that it's a role playing game. And so people get confused. That is because the creators have taken the term and they have abused the term for profit. Well, now, isn't that special? So you have this bisection of people within the community. It's always been the case of those who role play and those who role play. And so I am just defining the terms. Those who are the purists, again, who actually take the categorical identification of the term RPG seriously and at face value. It's in the name, role-playing game, and those who either ignore it, don't want to do it, and use it for something else. The abusers. Hey, do your thing. Again, I'm not telling you how to play. I'm just defining what you do. You may not like that definition, but it is what you are doing. This is what happens with truth and facts. All right, folks. Well, here comes the flame. Comment below. What do you think? You think that's the reason why we got this disparagement within the RPG community? Those who role play and those who role play? And are you an abuser? Happy about being an abuser? Let us know in the comments, man. I'm serious, because there's people who are happy to abuse tabletop role-playing games. Right? Go ahead. Abusers and purists alike. Inquiring minds want to know. With me? Oh, me, you know what I gotta do. Oh, I got to
Exit, station F.
If you made it this far, congratulations. And I'll see you on the other side, God willing. Happy gaming.